Hello everyone, welcome back to the Dork side. I'm the Dork in the road and I'm on my way to pick up the plate for my Honda Grom, but along the way I thought we could talk about 6 things I wish I'd known before I started motovlogging. Tips for brand new motovloggers. That's right, I am the Dork in the road. And I want to be your internet riding buddy, and I'm better than regular real-life riding buddies because I'm available whenever you want, and I come with a mute button, so please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button so that you know when I post something awesome for you to watch. So I've been at this motovlogging thing for a couple years now, and I do not consider myself an expert. Okay, let's just get that out of the way right away. And I don't even do all 6 of the things that I'm going to tell you about every time I make a video. But I do try to think about them every time I make a video, and concentrating on these things has made my videos better. Some of the things that I wish I had known, some things to think about as you're starting your own motovlogging channel, or if you have a motovlogging channel and you're looking for things, ways to get better, ways to improve your motovlogging shenanigans. And we're going to start with the basics. Okay, so the first thing is, you want to be a motovlogger, you need some gear. You don't need a ton, and you don't need to spend a ton of money, but you do need some stuff. There's stuff you just have to have. For instance, a camera. It's hard to make videos if you don't have a camera. I recommend a dedicated action camera. It doesn't have to be a GoPro, but using your cell phone, unless you've got a way to hook up an external mic to it, is generally not a good idea. Those videos, if you watch them on YouTube, people using their cell phones, they're just not enjoyable. So you gotta always ask yourself, and this is something we'll get to later, but would you watch this video and would you enjoy it? And if you wouldn't, then maybe you need to change something. And so the first thing I'm suggesting to you is get yourself a camera. Okay, that's a piece of gear that you need. I use a GoPro Hero 4. Okay, it doesn't have to be a super fancy camera. They're on the 7s now. The 4 does just fine 1080p video. I tested out that Icon Text camera. It was fine, except for I don't think you can hook a microphone into it, so that's something to consider. You can use a GoPro Session. There's a ton of options out there that, without breaking the bank, $100, a couple $100, you can get yourself a real decent motovlogging setup. So the first thing you need is a camera. Second thing you need is a microphone. That you should not, if at all possible, use the external microphone on the GoPro. The wind noise will be ridiculous. It sounds like you're underwater if it's in a case, and it's just not a good idea. You get much clearer audio. It'll be much easier to understand if you have a separate microphone that goes into your camera. So you need a camera and a microphone, and the other thing that you really need is a computer, because you'll have to edit your videos. Some of you may be brilliant enough to deliver one-take amazing motovlogs, turn on the camera, talk, turn it off, and the video is done. But most of us don't possess that superpower, and also you may eventually want to be adding things like an intro and an outro, and that stuff you need editing software for. You don't have to pay for editing software. I've made videos for a year using Windows Movie Maker. iMovie is really good, I've been told. I don't use it because I don't have a Mac. You do need a computer and some way to edit. You can edit on your phone. Some people do that. So I should say, instead of you need a computer, you need some way to edit. Most people do that on a computer. So there's some gear that you need. That's the first thing that you need to know. If you've already started motovlogging, hopefully you've gotten that figured out. If you're thinking about it, well, there you go. That's step 1. That's the important piece to remember, is that you need gear. Speaking of editing, and again, this is one of those things that I'm guilty of not doing all the time, but it's important that you edit your video and that you only put in, this is going to sound incredibly condescending and simplified, but you should only include things that are interesting in your video. I don't know, I used to get all wrapped up in, well, people need to see the riding and they need to see the area, and that's true, but only if those things are interesting. Okay, so if it's the same 2-lane highway for 2 hours, you don't need to put that in your video. If you come across a cool, I don't know, there's like a weird statue along the side of the road, or there's a lake or a pretty view or a dam or something cool along the ride, definitely put that in your video. That should be in there. But just generic highway that goes on and on and on, or even in dual sport videos like the trails, they just continue. If it's just the same sort of trail thing without anything super interesting happening, edit that out, cut it down. A shorter, more interesting video is better than a longer one that people stop watching halfway through. That's almost always true. So there are 2 ways. There are really 2 things that can be interesting in your video, and as long as one of these is going on pretty much all the time, you're going to keep people's interest. Okay, one is what I said, interesting riding. Okay, so the scenery is one part of that. Also doing interesting things, so it could be a boring road, but you're, I don't know, popping a wheelie, or just something, some sort of riding that's interesting. You're riding hard, or you're riding where you're not supposed to be, or you're riding, doing something funny while you're riding, like that stuff. That's good. That's interesting writing. The other interesting thing that you do in motovlogging, this will blow your mind, is talk. So if you're saying something interesting, it doesn't matter if the writing is boring. But if the writing is boring and you're not saying anything, that should not be in your video. Probably. You should probably edit that out. So ride for longer time so that you get 10 minutes worth of footage to make into a video, or just make shorter videos. There's no real rule. Motovlogs seem to fall into the approximately 10 minutes category a lot, but that's not a rule. That's not a YouTube thing. That's just kind of what it is. So, you know, you make a 7-minute video, make an 8-minute video. Something really interesting is happening, go crazy, make a 15-minute video. So long as you're following the rule of something interesting is happening all the time. Either interesting writing or interesting talking. One of those two things should be happening. And if not, it's time to edit. You have to edit. I see so many new motovloggers just go out and ramble for 15 minutes, repeat themselves, say irrelevant things, or don't say anything and just put in footage of their ride. And that's only cool if the ride is interesting, okay? So if it isn't, edit it out, okay? When in doubt, edit it out. It's a good thing to remember. It took me way too long to do that. Editing is hard. Number 1 is you need gear. Number 2 is edit your video. Number 3, this is a tip it took me too long to figure out, but purposefully while you're out riding, take thumbnail pictures on your camera, on your phone, whatever it is, higher resolution, because screen grabs from your GoPro, 1, have that weird rounded warped effect, so they don't look as good, and 2, they're never as high resolution because there's motion blur and stuff. It's really, really hard to pull a still from your video and make it look good. I have done it in the past. It does work in a pinch, but if it's possible to be mindful while you're out riding, whatever it is you're doing, and take a photo, pull over and take a photo of your bike or of where you're riding or whatever to use for your thumbnail. It's going to make it much easier later on. And I highly recommend using Google Photos on your phone because it'll automatically upload those things to the cloud, and then all you have to do is pull them down on your computer when you're editing them. But take a separate thumbnail photo while you're out riding. Number 4, this one's almost an advanced tip, but I won't get too crazy into it. I'm just going to say it's something you should look into, and that is search engine optimization. And what I mean by that is keywords. What are people searching for? What keywords and key phrases should you be using when you, and it doesn't have to be that you make videos based on these keywords, although some people do, but just figure out if you make a video about, I don't know, so you make a dual sport video, just as an example, because that's what I was working on this morning, okay? And you want people to find it in YouTube search, and you want it to show up next to other videos about the same thing so that people will look at it, you have to do a little research and figure out what phrases people are looking for. It's things like dual sport riding, dual sport motorcycle, dual sport adventure, dual sport off-road riding, off-road motorcycle adventure. What are the phrases that people search for when looking for the content? And there's a couple ways to do that, but TubeBuddy is a really good tool. I mean, you can use it to look at what keywords people who are making similar videos are using, and you can use it to do keyword research. So it'll give you ideas based on your one keyword to help you find that out. But those keywords need to go into your description, and they need to go into your title, and they need to go into your thumbnail if at all possible. So it's important because that's how people will find your videos. You can be making the world's greatest videos, but if no one can find them, what the hell is the point, right? All right, so that's number 4. I'm gonna go inside and get this license plate. I'll get back with you. So that's 4 things. 5th thing, and this kind of goes along with editing and the whole idea of make sure that what you're putting in the video is what's interesting to the people who are watching it. But you should have a topic or a plan when you go out to make your video. Okay? Don't just start writing and hope something comes to you, because you're just going to be rambling and incoherent. And sometimes the topic is the ride. Sometimes you're making a video of your ride. Yesterday I went out and rode at McCoy OHV Park, and my plan was to make a video of that adventure. And that's okay, so you talk about the adventure, but I knew that ahead of time. I didn't go out hoping that content would find me. I knew what my content was going to be. And on the flip side of that, if you want to go out and make a topic video, like I'm doing right now, you should have a plan for that. I didn't leave the house and go, what would be a fun topic to make a video on, and then had 6 things that I wish I'd known before I started motovlogging come to me. Okay, I have a document on my phone where I take notes, and if an idea comes to me, I'll put it in, and then I like to flesh it out a little bit. So I don't write out what I'm going to say, but I write about the points I want to make. Really, this is just a list of 6 things with a couple just little reminders, like bullet points underneath each one, so that I don't forget to say them. And most of the time I don't even look at my notes while I'm writing, obviously. Sometimes I'll pull over and look at them, but it's just once I've written it down, I can usually memorize it. I take a look at it before I leave, and then I try to hit all those topics. But you should have a plan, have a topic. Nobody wants to listen to someone riding a motorcycle and rambling incoherently. If you can stay focused on a specific topic, it's much easier to edit too. That's what's nice, is that you don't have to go out and pick pieces of information out of 3 hours of riding. If you hit your topic, talk about it for 20 minutes, you edit that down to 10, you're doing real well. So that makes it easier on yourself too. It's much better and much easier when you have a plan. It took me way too long to learn that. You can't just go riding, take your camera, and hope brilliance occurs. Occasionally it will. You might be able to edit together a video, but you're going to wish you'd covered things that you forgot to say and all that stuff. So having a plan and even writing it out is a pretty awesome idea. And finally, the 6th thing, and this one is, well, it kind of sounds mean. Like it's one of those tough pills to swallow. It's a tough love thing. And let me just preface by saying I don't see myself as the end-all be-all arbiter of this, and frankly sometimes I'm not good at it either, and that's okay. But you got to understand, when you motovlog, and some of you will get in front of the camera, and so this only applies, it still applies but not as much, but when you motovlog, you're pretty much just your voice, right? I'm my voice, I'm exhaust sound, and I'm scenery whipping by at up to 55 miles an hour on this particular motorcycle. And so that's all there is to engage your audience. And some people are naturally very expressive speakers. They vary the speed with which they deliver words. The tone of their voice goes up and down. They speed up and slow down. And those dynamics, especially when they're done intuitively and in a way that engages your audience, are a good thing. Dynamics means change, okay? And human beings crave new stimuli. So if you're monotone, like I am talking and motorcycling is really great and I really enjoy motorcycling and oh my god, that was the coolest thing that's ever happened, your people aren't going to be as interested and engaged, okay? Monotone is bad. You need variety, and you need to deliver your words and your topics and your information in an engaging way. I would much rather watch a video with an engaging motorcyclist, person, motovlogger, whatever, that covers very little actual content. I would rather watch that than somebody with incredibly informative stuff that's boring to watch. There are some people who have amazing content and the delivery is not so good, but I'll suffer through it because the content is good. And there are some people that have amazing delivery, but the content isn't good, and I don't care because I'm engaged. The ideal is to do both if you can. Find a way to deliver interesting, compelling, informational, or entertaining content while engaging your audience. Really, you just need to listen to your video with that ear. Listen for variety, listen for dynamics. Have other people watch it and just ask the question. And it's not an easy question to ask, but ask the question, am I boring? And if you are, or if you're less engaging than you should be, then think about how you can change that, become less boring. This idea of using dynamics, of engaging speech, of speeding up, slowing down, getting louder, showing excitement and emotion in your voice, that's one way to become a more engaging speaker. And so it's something that's worth thinking about as you get into motovlogging. I want to stop and get some oil. So I'll be right back. It's a sort of a choppy little video today. So those are the 6 things I wish I'd known before I started motovlogging. You need gear. You need specific motovlogging gear. It's important to learn about SEO, take separate thumbnail pics, edit your videos, have a topic, and be engaging. Those are the 6. And it all boils down to one simple rule. So if 6 is too many to remember, remember this one. And the one thing you should always do is ask yourself, would I watch this video? Would I enjoy this video? Would I keep watching this video if I started? Would I click on the thumbnail if it showed up in my suggested videos? Try to just take the position of the viewer and think about what they need and what they'll want. And if your content is engaging, well edited, you have separate thumbnail photos, people will watch. It takes a while to build a following. Maybe that's like a bonus 7th thing, is that it takes a while. You got to invest. You shouldn't judge the success of your YouTube channel until you have 50 videos, probably, because it just takes that long unless you get one video to go viral. So just keep those things in mind. Always ask yourself, would I watch this? And if you would, it's good content and the audience will come. You just have to wait. And if you wouldn't, then think about what you can change and make better and make it more enjoyable. And that's all part of learning and growing, and you've got to do it badly at first so you can learn how to do it well. I just want to say thank you for watching. If these tips helped you, or you got some new information, or it made you think about something you hadn't thought about before, why don't you do me a favor and go ahead and click that thumbs thumbs up. And please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. I hope to see you back here for more motovlogging and motorcycle and dual sport adventure shenanigans. But for now, let me just say thank you very much for watching, and as always, please do not forget to be excellent to each other. Thank you.